Hello, thank you for tuning back in. I'm so glad to hear from you again. I'm glad that you're back here. So I am filming this video, excuse me, short video, because I wanted to talk to you about something that I recently went through, January, February 2023. Okay, so this has to do with a church which is located in Miami, Florida. The church is called Metro Life Church of Miami. They have two buildings. There's currently one in Doral, Miami, and there's another one in Dadeland, Miami. Okay? And in this church, there is Pastors Alessi, Pastors Mary and Steve Alessi. They are the pastors of the church. So I wanted to advise you about this because there's a lot of people who don't know about this kind of lifestyle and what goes on in these churches. 15 years ago, I was involved in a very toxic relationship. But then again, they usually say that we usually meet somebody for a reason. I learned from that person I was dating back then, who was also going to another toxic Christian church in Miami, which was called Voices for Jesus, okay, up in, I think, Miami Lakes or close to Hialeah, something like that. He told me that church, especially Christian church, is usually considered a negotiation. Okay, a financial cash box. It's a huge negotiation. It's a business. It's a marketing business if you think about it, okay? Because basically what's going on in the church is as many geese that they could get into the farm, they get to collect more golden eggs. Out of all the dumbbells they get to come into the church. All right? And usually these Christian churches consist of cliques, people who are in groups, people who choose to be in groups and disrespect others and kind of push others out of their space if they don't want you there. I mean, it's easier said than done. It's easier, I don't know how else to say it. It is what it is. You know what I mean? I was a victim of that at Metro Life Church with Steve and Mary Alessi. Did my nails, by the way. Okay, I was a member of that church, and I was also a victim of being bullied by cliques, where I felt as though I was being pushed away by a lot of the church members and singled out only because they didn't want me there. Now, to hurry up and get to the point, if you go on Yelp.com, YELP.com, and Google.com, and you look up the name of this church, Metro Life Church, Doral or Dadeland Campus. Dadeland is spelled DADELAND. If you look up that church, you could see under my reviews, okay, the reviews that I posted for Metro Life Church, Christian Church of Miami, with the Alessi pastors. The reason why I say this is because this year, while I was going to the church, okay, vuelve a repito, that means, here we go again, I'm going to say it again. I was treated extremely disrespectful in Metro Life Church. What can I say? I was escorted outside by the ushers. I was being chased around the church by the ushers, literally chased around. After the service, when I went to go say hello to people, I mean, it was very graphic. I went through this alone, by myself. Nobody went through this with me, you understand? And I have never been through something like this before in my life, okay? Never. I've never been through something like as crazy and graphic and horrible as this before. I was being chased around by the ushers after the service a few times in January. They were following my every move. January 2023, when I was at the Dayland campus, they would watch me as I would write down my prayer request on a card and go out to the lobby and stick it into the box. I mean, any little thing, any little action or move that I made, they made me feel like I was in jail custody, where they watch your every single move. I mean, it was so bizarre, so strange. I had never been treated like that at any church before in my entire life, guys, okay? And then something was telling me not to go back when I went back in February. I mean, the night before, I didn't take my medication that I needed for my medical condition that I currently struggle with on a daily basis. I have a very serious condition, and just to be able to go to the church. So it's highly risky what I did, you know, because I wanted to be with those people. I wanted to be around those people. I wanted to be friends, forget the past, forget about whatever happened before, and try to rekindle the friendship like my mother taught me to, you know, forgive and forget. I thought that Christian churches were supposed to forgive, you know, like a friend of mine told me. When I told him the testimony of what happened to me. I mean, when you go to church, you're supposed to be giving a good testimony, not a sad story or a tragic story of something tragic you went through at a church that traumatized you in your mind. I mean, it's incredible what they did. So February, when I went back there, I was escorted out of the church again, but this time it was worse because I got there an hour earlier. I took the bus and the train to leave my house to get to the church, and when I got there at around 10:30, I got there too early, not realizing that I did, and the ushers asked me to step outside. So when I went outside, they told me in a very bluntly disrespectful way that I was no longer allowed to come back to Metro Life Church, okay, because supposedly I had problems with people at the church, which I don't recall of, because I didn't threaten anybody, nobody threatened me, there were no fights, there were no arguments, nothing ever happened, nothing negative ever happened, okay? So the person who told me this was Carlos Fernandez, Janelle's father, okay, Liz Fernandez's husband. They go to Metro Life Church Dayland campus in Dayland, Kendall. Okay, they go there, and they're big hot shots. They love making people feel like shit. Okay, I told him he was a piece of shit. I told him, you are an asshole. You know what I mean? To his face. And he couldn't do anything to me because he just couldn't, you know? There was another usher there with his eye directly on him. You know, I was embarrassed because the other usher took me to the parking lot to hold me on the property so that I wouldn't leave until the police got there. Oh, and when the cops got there, there was one officer, she told me I couldn't come back. And that if I would have come back, I would go to jail. You know what I mean? And I'll tell you one thing, this is something that I have never been through in my entire life, okay? A church calling the police on somebody who's trying to do the right thing, on somebody who's coming to church to fellowship, to be friends, to look for relationships, as this church advertises. This church strongly advertises that they want people to come to this church, to Metro Life Church, to form relationships, healthy relationships. They're looking for a family to come join them as a family church. But nevertheless, they go around calling the cops on people, like myself. You know what I mean? That's exactly what they did to me, okay? Mary and Steve Alessi. That's exactly what they did to me, all right? And if you look at my online reviews on Yelp.com, YELP.com, if you look at the online reviews that I posted on Metro Life Church, Doral, and Dayland campus, you will see screenshots and pictures of the horrible things that these people do. I mean, how many times have I reached out to them on social media, and Stephanie Alessi, all of them block me. There was one time in January when I went to go to Dayland Campus Church, Metro Life Church in Kendall, in the parking lot. The pastors were inside of their black Bentley, okay? And I tried to wave and say hello in the parking lot, you know, in the back of the church by the playground. Mary Alessi with her nose straight up in the air, okay? Her hair was literally covering her face like this. and she wouldn't even glance out the window to say hello to me, noticing that I'm walking by her car in the parking lot. Okay, I felt as though Steve Alessi, because he has a good heart, I feel as though deep inside he wanted to say hello, but he was being controlled by Mary. That's what it feels like more than anything. I mean, that family is so hateful. Okay, I only learned how to hate coming out of that church, Metro Life Church. I'm not the only one giving them bad reviews. There's other people who have been complaining. Okay, even though they're so-called 4-star church or whatever you want to call it. I wouldn't recommend this church to you, and just be careful when going to church institutions because of shootings and whatnot that go on in these places, and because of the people that are just so unfortunately shady in these places. Catholic Church is thousands of miles away different than Christian church. I have gone to a recent Catholic church where they, number one, help me with the rent, okay? Something the Alessis would never do, unless you're their little buddy. And I went to a Catholic church that make you feel free, not controlled or obligated to any of their church activities. You know, I went to Catholic churches that actually help the community. It's like the happy church, you know, where there's light coming in through the windows. It doesn't look like a dark, creepy nightclub scene when you're in the main sanctuary, stuff like that. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know how else to tell you, you know. Most Christian churches have never been there for me in the sense that they've never helped me with housing when I was homeless, and they've never helped me pay the rent. I mean, it's so bizarre. It's so bizarre, you know, how they collect so much church money from people, and they end up, God knows what they use the money on. Bentleys in the backyard of the church to not say hello to somebody who's trying to be faithful and come to you in good faith to your church. I mean, I don't know. I'm so confused. You know, I thought it was supposed to be the house of the Lord. I don't know. I saw Steve Alessi living in a 2-bedroom of God knows how many bedroom house, 2-story house with a pool in the backyard, tremendous plantation he's got back there, garden and everything. I mean, killing wildlife for sport instead of to eat. And then being proud enough to take pictures of it for destroying wildlife on social media. I guess we could do so much better than investing in a church that's going to be disrespectful, not only to humanity, but to wildlife, our earth. You know what I mean? I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought I should just share this information with you guys because, you know, I could only think about the fact that I went online in 2016. We're in 2023 now. I went online 2016 and I posted a review of the church talking about Rick Negron, which is Pastor Steve's best friend. He goes to Doral campus in Miami. And Rick Negron, you know, when I was 16 years old, he sexually abused me. I was a minor who suffered at the hands of sexual abuse from this individual who went to this Christian church and who claims he's so holy. Okay? And I feel as though because the Alessis are, I guess, sticking up for their buddy, that's probably why they don't want me to come to church, you know? I mean, the pedophile reviews that I wrote that I posted on YouTube almost a year ago, because it's been 10 months since I posted those videos on my YouTube here. Those reviews, those pedophile videos based on what I went through are almost a year old, and this church is still holding it against me. So, you know, at this point, I honestly don't know what to say. All I could say, guys, is I'm warning you, be careful when you go to these places, okay? Excuse me, it's a huge negotiation. It's all about the money. And if they realize that you're not paying them money in the church, you could say bye-bye. You know what I mean? But then I had a friend who told me 20 years ago, my neighbor, she said, never pay anyone to pray for you. So, at this point, I don't know what to tell you anymore. If you think this is the right thing, go for it. Whatever rocks the boat, ladies and gentlemen. But, at the end of the day, you got to be careful who you invest your money in. Okay? And if it's going to be a church like Metro Life Church of Miami with the Alessi pastors who are constantly asking people for money and doing odd things and not helping the community and giving back to the community, I don't know. I'd say just be careful with these institutions and the people lurking around, because I had always imagined that, demonic forces need to feel alive. That's why they target the church. People in church are singing praises and worship songs to God in heaven. That is making the building flow light. There's light flow coming out of the building, which attracts demons. When demons see this happening, guess what they do? They jump into that building, and what do? They get into the people that are in the church, which is the reason why so many churches fail at good relationships, and a lot of things that shouldn't be happening, like bad things, are happening in these institutions. I had a very good friend when I was in high school going to this church, many years ago, Metro Life Church, who was extremely humiliated by someone who was chasing after her. There was a man who was in love with her, and he ended up disrespecting her in front of everybody in that church. And I witnessed the whole thing. I was the one who warned her not to go back to the church 15 years ago, 20 years ago, about around there. I told her, please don't go back there. She was also a victim of stalking. There were church members, some of the guys were going to her house and stalking her. She was coming to me and complaining. And I remember that when I would go to the church in 2003, people would come running up to me, asking me for her personal information or asking me if I saw her, It was a really weird situation. But anyway, what can I say? All I know is the pastors were chasing after minors in the youth group when we were in high school, me and some of my friends. So, I'm having a hard time processing what's right from wrong when it comes to this church. It's weird. It's just shady. It's just like, hello, you know what I mean? It's like shady as hell. You know what I mean? What can I say? What more can I say? I mean, if the church is going to be advertising, come to our church and have relationships with us, then why would you call the cops on somebody like me and kick me off the property? I mean, practice what you preach. You know what I mean? So please look up the online reviews on Yelp and Google. I will put the description, I will put the link to each review in the description below of this video. And I'm just letting you know this as a way to make everybody aware, especially teenage girls, because I have girls. What can I say? I hope that somebody is able to, really put this video as food for thought, Because I went through this by myself. It was really hard what I went through. On my way back home on the bus and the train, I was crying because I was so humiliated and very sad. It's hard when you care about somebody and you want to be somebody's friend, but they shit on you. Most people who shit on you don't even love themselves. So have a nice day, and thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. God bless you all. Love you. Spread more love in this world, and be kind to each other. It's important. Thank you for being here. Bye-bye.